We're doing another stream.
Tottenham On Tour. Tottenham On Tour.
It's a Spurs podcast. It's with the two Brians and welcoming Adam Clark, featuring Phil President if he can get his camera working. We got a bit of tech issues while we're starting late, folks, so we apologize for that. On this week's episode, we're going to discuss, obviously, the Leeds review. We're going to talk about the midfield with Winks and Hojberg, the first half versus the second half, tactically speaking, our defensive performance, some of the substitutions that came on, Conte's touchline antics, which I think most of us loved, and, of course, the announcement from the club today and the financial results. Some of the stuff that should be discussed there is going to be a fun one, so I'm looking forward to having that. I want to welcome Adam Clark first to the channel. Adam is going to be a massive part of what we're doing moving forward. Adam, welcome to the channel. That's not your first time here, but your first time sort of as an official member. Good to have you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks. I'm absolutely overjoyed to be part of this project. We have so many ideas. It's just even brainstorming. Definitely just waiting in the wings. I can't wait to be part of that. Because this channel is going to blow up. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. The amount of organization that's going into this is immense. So I'm happy to be doing as part of work based for college, and just part of the Tottenham YouTube community. Happy to contribute to it.
Fantastic, man. You've been supporting us for a long time in the comments, and of course on this channel and our other channel as well. And just looking forward to doing what we can to help you with what you're working on from a school perspective, and getting you bigged up so that you can you can look good and have a lot of fun talking about fucking Spurs, because that's what we're here for. Of course, I swore before this 10 minminutes. Is that
2 minutes?
2 minutes,
20 seconds.
Yeah, God. Well, we're not monetized yet, so it's fine. But we're getting there. And that on that note, we're 753, I think, subscribers. Road to 1,000. So if you are in the comments or you're watching this, whether it's live or otherwise, please like and subscribe. We want to get to that 1,000. We want to be able to put some more time and money into this and give you guys more content. And of course, I want to welcome my co-host and partner in crime, the one and only Mr. Brian Daigle. Good to see you, brother. You're looking good.
Always good. I'm feeling better. The last couple of days I've been rough as. But I think, first of all, Adam Clark, you're going to have to put an Tottenham On Tour next to your official now.
Yeah, I'd love that.
You're going to
have to put the profile pic as well on my name as well. I can't wait to do all that.
There you go. And then secondly, how am I? I'm good, apart from my phone giving me alerts that snow is imminent in Toronto, which, here we go. Yeah, so I always take a picture. I keep saying about it, that I take a picture when I can't see the grass for snow, and I always do the caption, "Grass, it's been nice, see you in April." And that picture is getting closer and closer to becoming a reality. So I'm dreading it, but the sooner it comes, the sooner it goes.
100%. I was up north for the weekend with some friends, as you know, and there was snow up there, and I had to on the Monday when we left, I had to get up and clear the snow off my car, and I was just like, oh god. But I will be going to Colombia for 2 weeks in end of December until January, and the lads are gonna hold down the fort while I'm gone. Of course, I'll probably hop on some streams while I'm in Colombia, but it'll be beach bound, and hopefully there'll be some Wi-Fi for me to sort it out. But looking forward to that. Let's get into some comments real quick here. We got Derek Hutchinson's with us. What's up, Derek? How you doing, mate? James is with us. James Watson.
James, I have to say, I'm going to big up James, because James, basically, I saw him commenting on the Irish Hotspur, and he asked me about where do people go in Toronto, because he felt like he was the only Spurs fan in Toronto, and I was like, what?
Oh, yeah.
So we got speaking. I said to him, come sit at my table at the Scotland Yard if you can get there. And he was like, yeah, I can get down there. So he actually came. I met him for the first time ever, in person, at the Scotland Yard. We had a great time together. He sat at my table with Bobby and his kid, the whole community of Toronto Spurs. He very kindly gave me a lift home. So I just want to big up James, and I can't wait to see you at the next one.
Cheers, James. There's also the Dunright in the West End, if that's closer. That's my go-to. But Brian and I, over the course of the season, will be sort of going back and forth between the Scotland Yard and the Dunright. We'll be doing shows from there, and of course we'll have Adam on with us while we're doing it, which should be a good laugh in the pub and whatnot. We got Sean Snows with us, Shawnee boy. Sorry we didn't have you on tonight. We kind of had some things scheduled, but we will get you sorted, and we know we got some work we're doing with Sean as well. We're looking forward to that too. So big up, Sean. Good to see you, mate. Chris Agambar, always with us. What's up, buddy? Good to see you.
Chris.
Big man.
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Ribsy 85. I haven't seen Ribsy. Is Ribsy new?
No, he's always been about. He's always on We Are Tottenham TV. He's a top dude.
Oh, nice, Ribsy. Well, welcome to Tottenham On Tour. Good to have you, mate. Pleasure to see you. We got Shane Black is with us. Shane.
Shane. I hope you're feeling better.
Shane's always rocking it. Aiden W.'s with us.
Big
up, mate. Simon Houston.
Simon is another dude. So now he had a go at me on Sunday for not mentioning his name. Simon, so through my great friend Bobby at Toronto Spurs, when I was in England, he said he was speaking to a guy by the name of Simon, who I didn't know at the time, and said, "Oh, he's coming to London." And he was saying that he was saying to Bobby, "Oh, have you seen these two guys on Tottenham On Tour?" And he was like, "Know them or seen them? I know them." So I spoke to him. He came over to England with his kid Ronan for the Man U game. So I actually met him through Bobby at the Man U game, and he was sitting right next to me, so he came and met Grandpa and Ben and Sim and everything, which his kid loved. And then he was at the Scotland Yard as well on Sunday.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was great. So I every time it's like, you never bring my name up, and you just did, so I weren't missing that opportunity.
There you go, nice one. We got Paul Brown with us as well. Paulie boy, what's up,
Paul.
going? Always in the comments and hanging out, so it's good to have you back. We got Mark Cousins as well. Good evening, lads. Great to see you in Tottenham. Tantrum earlier, bringing up your lip when someone praised Levy.
Yeah,
that sounds
big
right.
up Dermot as well.
As well. And James Watson. Cheers, James. Good to see you here as well. I think we already said that. We say it again. Yeah, why not? We'll say hello to everybody.
Exactly.
So obviously lots to talk about today. I went through the run of show just before we started. I probably did it in no particular order. I want to start with the tactics before we get into the midfield, if you guys are okay with that. Because I think that. Yeah. I think that the first half and the second half was it was obviously that sort of standard tale of two halves kind of cliche thing that gets said, but it was blatantly that. Adam, I'll start with you. Like, just in the first half, when you were watching the first half, how did you feel about it? Were you like frustrated wise? It was, for me, it was like, what is happening here? I don't understand. This is killing me. What were your thoughts watching that first half?
Watching the first half, I was just saddened. I was like depressed. I was like just all the negative emotions that I had been feeling on the new one just like came back. Like, it was like, oh, here we go again. One half FC, and all that stuff. It kind of looked like, and some people might accuse you of being too harsh, but it was like a championship level play, like of what we were doing, because we weren't on. We could barely string 3 passes together. We would the midfield attack. Might as well have not even put players in those positions, if you ask me. Now, the defense, that was decent. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, we let in the goal. But up until that point, we were doing pretty good. But,
it was probably the best side of it was the D. I would agree with you there, Adam. I think despite, obviously we saw Kane dropping deep to try to get something going because we didn't have anybody in the midfield that was pushing forward. The whole defense, the whole team was sitting deep, which was difficult to watch. I'm going to go to you, Brian, next. The first half, thinking about the first half, watching it obviously there must have been a lot of kind of buzz at the yard when you were there, sort of people, the moaning as we heard sort of at halftime when the booing happened and the team went off. Did you feel that with all the Spurs fans at the yard when you were there?
Oh yeah, you could sense it at the ground as well. The first half performance was not the greatest, not the best on the eye, shall we say? And again, when it got to no shot on target again, it was just like, oh, for crying out loud, here we go again. Surely not. And I think it was because we were all hyped up that Conte's had 2 weeks with them, so now we're going to come in and see this completely different dynamic of football, which obviously you can't expect miracles. And it just goes to show how badly we need to address this lack of creativity, whether it be Ndombele comes through and gets to fitness and gets the level Conte wants, or in January we go out and sort out this issue, because they just didn't know what they were doing. Wings, the whole midfield. A lot of people had a lot to say about Lucas. a lot, and a lot of saying he was
Let's
running around.
let's save that though. That's a little bit later on, and I get why you're bringing it up. And there's like he had some great statistics in this game. Are basically involved in all three of the best chances we had, and he got an assist on Hojberg's goal. I want to stick with the beginning of the game and the midfield problems, and of course what turned out to be something that wasn't a problem at all in the second half. I had a bit of a different opinion about. This was just this. I watched the highlights again closely, and I watched the extended highlights again closely. And I'm not suggesting that we played well in the first half, but I don't think it's as bad as many are making it out to be. I think it looked a lot like what we had seen with Mourinho and Nuno with the sitting deep, and that is probably the frustration. That's where the booing comes from, because you're kind of going, what is happening here? But what I did see was those back passes, the sort of sideways and back that we kind of hate, especially when Winks does it. It gets really frustrating to watch. But that is actually, Conte actually came out and said that it was his intention to do that. He knew that the team wasn't fit enough to press for an entire game. So he decided in the first half, if he could contain Leeds and tire them, because that's what they're going to do, because they run a lot, that if he contains them, then his team will be able to press in the second half, and which is exactly what we saw. So let's get to the second half, because they come out flying, right? I mean, come out flying. Kane hits the post. There are a number of moments we can get to, but Adam, when the second half started, immediately there was a difference in what we were seeing as far as the tactics were concerned. What were your thoughts when that started?
It was like we were playing it. It was like an entirely different game, wasn't it? We were just playing a lot better, more fluid, or we knew. It looked like we knew what we were doing, what we wanted to do. And eventually that did lead to the 2 goals, and I think that's the first time this season we've actually won from being a goal down. I think really in any competition. I'm not even sure if we've done that in the Europa.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Conte said to them at halftime, but as I was saying on Chris's channel yesterday, Let's Talk Tottenham, I don't know what he said to them at halftime, but I want him to say that to them before every game. So just maybe they can do it for the whole 90 minutes. But as you said, the fitness is an issue.
Yeah, and I think Sean So makes a good comment about this, and this I do agree that it's a bit of a rope-a-dope, and he did say I didn't, the tactics I decided to do in the first half were those specifically. I'm going to let the team sit back and then push forward in the second half. Brian, going into the second half, Harry Kane hits the post. Heung-min Son hits the post. We had 19 shots, or 18 or 19 shots, 8 or 9 of them on goal. Just a completely different squad, different team going into that second half. And it was where is this team been? But I think, like Sean pointed out, I think that's an incredibly smart tactic from Conte. He knew what he has when it comes to the team we have and what they're capable of doing. He let them kind of get into the game, understand what he wants them to do, and let the shackles off in the second half. But coming out, seeing all those, there's one point when there's a shot where there's 6 Spurs players in the box at the same time. I haven't seen that in years. It felt like. What were your thoughts?
Well, first of all, it's like what Andy just says here. A better team with more clinical finishing would have had this game over, and it wouldn't have mattered what we did in the second half. So you've got to take that into
a fair shot. Yep.
Into consideration. Now, obviously, what we've heard with Conte saying, listen, I don't think the players can go 90 minutes at the full throttle I wanted to, so I told them to stand off and then obviously go for it and go for the jugular in the second half. I can see that, and I can understand that. That's actually fantastic. Man, it is incredibly smart. It's just, like I said, again, it comes down to that, like I said, that number 10, the lack of creativity, and it just goes to show how badly this position needs to be filled. Listen, in the second half, there's definitely signs of intent, and you got to see it when Hojberg scored the first goal, and he's like, I'm not even celebrating this, get back. And you can see, I mean,
I love that.
We're going to talk about, and obviously you cannot underestimate, and we'll go into it in more depth about Conte's demeanour and Conte's enthusiasm on the sideline, and it's night and day from obviously a Nuno.
Again, that is later in the podcast.
Yes, I just said we're going to go into that later. Hence why I started that.
Brian's eager tonight. He's excited because
Brian follows no rules.
I am. I mean, listen, you can't polish the turd. And listen, like Bob Spur has said religiously, he's been here 2 weeks. You can't expect all of a sudden to go from what we were with Nuno to all of a sudden peak Conte, so to speak. And And you look at it, and again, as Bob Spurs said, going into this game, this same team had lost half their games. Lost half their games, and
Yeah, for
you
sure.
got to look at this with Nuno. This game would have been lost. No,
Yeah,
not
he
even drawn.
wouldn't have had a
It would have
response
been
for
lost.
it. He wouldn't have had a response, or like he wouldn't have thought to do. It's like that rope. I'm going to pull you guys in, and then I'm going to recognize that you're likely going to be tired and respond to it. Right?
I'm going to say it because I don't know if Adam is going to say it, and I think this may be the European in me. But what the fuck is rope-a-dope?
Oh, so
I wondered the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, so rope-a-dope is something that Muhammad Ali did in some of his biggest fights against Frazier. And what he did was he allowed Frazier to come onto him, and he was on the ropes, and he would cut and move his body and shift and let him punch him, but not punch him hard because his movement was fast enough. And then as soon as he tired, as soon as his body was too tired from throwing too many punches, he knocked him out and hit him like 4 or 5 times and knocked him on the like, it was incredible. Like that's famous Muhammad Ali. The rope-a-dope. It's something he's done for like he did in many fights, but the famous one, the Fraser Ali in Africa, which was an incredible moment. And it is that it's like, let you come on to us. I'm going to let you come on to us, and then as you start to tire, I'm going to recognize that I'm going to push my players forward. And you saw that, and I think somebody mentioned that there was some creativity. Sean Snow said this. We had creativity in the second half, though. I agree with him. I think there was. Now, having said that, it wasn't clinical, and I think that's the thing we're missing. But we hit the post 3 times. We hit the post 3 times in the second half. It could have been 4-5-1. It could have been had some of those bounces go for us, and if we were a bit more clinical. So I'm not saying that we don't need a 10, Brian. I'm not suggesting at all 100% we do need to sort that position out. We need to play with 1-6, 1-8, and 1-10, and have those players rotate through that midfield. But I think there's more to what we're going to see and what he's going to be able to get out of this team based on how smart he is as a manager.
Of course, I mean, one thing you will take out of it is whether you like the 11 players that played or you don't like them, and I'm talking people like Winks, Davies, Dyer.
Okay,
they gave 90
90
minutes of blood, sweat, and tears. They did not give up. They did not quit. And they ran their asses off, which, let's say, we haven't been able to say religiously for a little while.
Yeah, and I just to shout out to Shane Black, who mentions this. We outran Leeds by 3.5 kilometers. That tells you everything, right? I really think, and Leeds are the number 1 team in the league for the amount of kilometers they run per game on average. Yeah, they are. They're. I saw that statistic last week when we were looking before the weekend. But yeah, we managed to
look at that.
All right,
the
so
guest has sorted out.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
So it's actually you would have seen that we have Phil President as our guest today. He's managed to get his shit sorted out, so we're gonna welcome it. What's up, Phil? How are you, buddy?
You're right.
Yeah, good, mate. Good. We're just talking about, and I'm going to get to you, Adam, on this as well. But we're just talking about the midfield, or we're just talking about the tactics from the first half to the second half. We'll get your thoughts on this. The difference between what we saw in the first and what we saw in the second. What are your thoughts on?
Sorry, before Phil does that, I am going to let Phil answer that question. But I just want to, because we didn't get to do an introduction to Phil before. I want to.
You go ahead, Brian. You do the introduction.
I want to do something.
You know him well already, so.
So Phil, I've mentioned him before when I've done these streams. Phil has followed me on Twitter, and we've been interacting on Twitter for ages. And then when I came to London, and for everyone knows the reason for it, Phil got in contact with me and was like, "Are you going to the protest?" And he turned up for 2 of them, 3 of them. Phil, how many were you at? So Phil literally was one of the guys that said they're coming, and he was there. He was walking up and down the high road with me, holding the placards, walking behind me like security. When Phil stands, he is a big dude. He is a big dude. So big up respect to Phil, and it's
welcome
been
to
great
the channel,
to get
Phil.
him on.
Thank you very much.
Phil, now I'll let you
Pleasure to have
answer
you.
the question.
Yeah, so welcome to have you, mate. A pleasure to have you here, and we'll definitely get you back on. And unfortunate for the tech, but you got the tech sorted, so
Yeah, we got it sorted.
excellent stuff. So yeah, just to sort of quickly repeat my question: difference between the first half and the second half. Tactically speaking, Conte made a massive change, obviously, between what he asked them to do in the first half to what we ended up doing in the second. My understanding is that was his intention. He recognizes the players don't have necessarily enough in the tank to do that for 90 minutes. So he sort of let them come on to them, and then in the second half, flipped the switch on them. And as we just mentioned about Muhammad Ali, did a little bit of a rope-a-dope and was able to drag him in and then knock him out. So what were your thoughts on it? Watching the game from the first half to the second, anything to add?
To me, it's just Conte. It's just symbolises Conte. Conte is just one of those players. When we used to watch him as a youngster and you saw him in Italian football, he had that drive and that passion, and he would always try his best. And especially with Marcello Lippi as his manager, he learned from him.
Yeah,
and with Conte, he never give up. You never give up.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the case. Definitely. I think we spent a lot of time on that tactics, and let's talk about the midfield a little bit. I don't know if Phil, I don't know if you got the run a show, but we sort of run a show. We're going to get into the Winks and Hojberg partnership in the midfield now. So I'll give you a few minutes to think about that. I'm going to start with Adam on that situation. Winks gets a massive hard time from all Spurs fans these days. I feel a bit bad for him because he is one of our own. He's come through the academy, but he reached a certain level. I think we've gotten to that point where we recognize that's his level. Adam, your thoughts on Winks' performance in this game across the entire game? Because I think like a first half, second half scenario, like we already discussed, I thought he was quite good in the second half for him. I'm not saying he's good and that we still need a replacement, but it was good for Winks. Adam, what are your thoughts on Winks? And of course, Hojberg we'll get into as well, because I think it's a similar conversation, because I think they both improved considerably in the second half. But what are your thoughts, Adam?
Overall, I'd say his performance was average, and with the way Winks has been the past 2 years, for his standards, that's like him winning the Ballon d'Or or something like. So he's based. So congratulations to him in that regard. I am on that hate train for Winks still, even after yesterday. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because at the end of the day, like you said, summed up perfectly, he is still a Tottenham player. Like, he is still pulling on that jersey with that mighty ID cockerel, like over the heart, when we see him playing like good or even half decent, like we can say fair play.
We gotta back him up, right? We gotta support the lad, and he was what we had available based on the international break and the situation we were in, and he went in there and did a job, and the first half he was terrible, and so was Hojberg, to be fair. Brian, this is. Yeah, Brad, I'm going to go with you on this one, because Hojberg is your favorite player, and you consistently say that, and for good reason. I like him as well. I like him because of his attitude more than his skill. To be fair, his skill is okay. But what were your thoughts in the comparison between Hojberg and Winks from the first half to the second half? And how do you feel about Hojberg at the moment? Played too much, or what do you think?
Listen, everyone knows my love for Hojberg, and it's not gonna go away anytime soon. But like I've said, sentiment is over. If we can get a player better than him, then you buy the player. That's how far. I mean, that's what ruthless, cutthroat managers do to get their teams to the top. So the time for standing on ceremony and saying, yeah, Hojberg's the best ever, and my favourite player. Don't think he's the best player on the team. He's my favourite. He's just an example. He just goes to show. Listen, what he lacks, he makes up more in passion, commitment, desire, everything. The way, even when we scored the first goal on Conte's everyone get back. Pierre didn't even see that. He's just running back. Forget
he's
to celebrate.
He puts his arms up. He's like, let's
get back.
go.
Yeah, let's get back.
Get back and just try it. Yeah,
exactly. Game's not done. And listen, I was on a stream earlier on Paxton Road where he didn't miss a single minute of the Premier League last season, and he has missed 1 minute of the Premier League this season.
It's just overplayed, isn't he?
He's also played under 4 different managers in 4 different styles. I mean, how can you keep... Hojberg leads by example on the pitch with his attitude and everything, but you can't keep expecting him to do everybody's work. We saw how important Skip was in the Arsenal game when it was Hojberg, Ndombele and Dele. It was like Hojberg was in midfield by himself. And he was at fault for one of the goals.
Trying to do too many things at once, isn't he?
Exactly. There's only so much one man can do, and we hold him in such high regards because of his attitude or whatever. So he's coming up with the goals as well now. That's his
he's
goal.
actually scored. I think it's 3 in all competitions.
So he's doing that now. Now, Winksy, I mean, the first half, I don't think he was good at all. But the thing is, what I will say with Winksy, and I am part of the Winks goodbye, but I actually think if there's one player that might get out of jail free card with Conte, I think it may be him.
It's
And
true.
Conte,
This is true stats, Phil. I put it up there because we're talking about.
It's just painful hearing it, mate. It's just
Also,
painful hearing it.
also this one as well. Yeah, we'll
Exactly.
get to you in a second because I want to know your thoughts on it. But it is important to recognize that this manager that we're talking about right now gets the best out of these types of players.
I know.
Exactly.
And we may have to accept it. That's
the problem, you see, because we've got so many average players. You're just thinking, when is the axe going to fall? When is the axe just going to get? You need to these players, yeah.
Come on, Newcastle, come in for him. Come in for him.
No disrespect to them, mate, but it's been so many years. We've seen it under Pochettino. We've seen it under Mourinho. We've seen it under Nuno. Eventually, they are going to let him down. This is the problem, and we all can see it as fans. We've all been there and seen it already, and they are going to do it again.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible, but I also think that this guy. I mean, again, the Victor Moses example at Chelsea is the most obvious one we all know about. That true. Victor Moses could not get into that side for like a year and a half. I think he was on the bench essentially. He comes in and he turns him into the best right back because of what he's able to instill in a player. So we may see more winks than we might like, but then we might like it. We might like it in the end, Phil. It might end up being, hey, you know what? He's doing well. Before his injury, the way he played is he's a perfect Conte player. He's a perfect number 8 that does exactly what Conte likes to do. One of his midfielders to do.
Yeah, but then there's other players out there that could.
Oh, I agree. But right now, what he has to make do, and he goes, "This player's kind of like what I know."
Yeah, but then that just speaks to the level of strength and depth, or lack of strength and depth that we have as a club. That speaks volumes to me.
100% agree, Phil. So, what are your thoughts on Hojberg, Phil? What did you think of his performance?
Hojberg, is a brilliant player. I love him to pieces. And for me, if I could have got any player to come into the side in the summer, I would have bought Damsgaard, because the way they two worked together in the Euros was just something special.
That's true, yeah. He also got further forward too, didn't he?
I even said that in the transfer window. They should have gone out. They should have gone hell for leather and try and bring him in, because them two worked so well together. Damsgaard did the creativity, and Hojberg was just a defensive wall. Him and Delaney next to each other was the defensive wall, like him and Skip. So he's got that in his game, and Skip being there allows Hojberg the freedom to go forward, which is why I like.
Yeah, and we've seen him score goals because of that too, because he does probably feels like he has the space to do that. And he scored I was about to say a cracker, but it wasn't a cracker, really, was it? It was sort of a
I just got
soft
to do something, because he's having a hard time at work. He's working all hours.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
yeah,
Danny Kiriakou, Danny Kiriakou. Okay,
no, that's great. I'm happy. Let's quickly, Brian, I'm going to let you do it this time. Let's go through the comments, just some of the people who are, I think there's some new people here as well.
Yeah,
and then we'll get into our next topic.
We can do that. This is a great comment from Mark, where Hojberg said he doesn't celebrate drawing at home. That's the kind of mentality you need. I'm going to pick this person up because he's got around in all the channels recently, and he's a character, and it's the True Sets Free.
What's up, True?
This guy's a legend.
He's a philosopher, football philosopher.
He's appearing everywhere.
I see him with David Harris as well.
He's
always on our Shotspur stream.
We've got Paul Brown, who's another fantastic supporter of the show, and obviously he's saying Lucas, Wink, and Hojberg show some desire, passion. It's right. It's exactly. And Lucas, I want to touch on, because I'm a big fan of Lucas, and we'll get to Lucas in a minute. This is great from Dark Art Masters, who I think is brand new to the channel. So welcome to the channel, and Bend It Like Dyer coming at cinemas, hopefully very, very soon, when he bangs a few free kicks. Sean Snow mentioning Marcus Alonso is another one that Conte revived. And then you've also got to look, Sessignon got on the pitch.
We're going to get to that.
Oh, good.
Bryce skipping again.
Eugene is in that.
Oh, big up Eugene, man.
Yeah,
absolute legend.
And then you've obviously got the True Sets Free talking about Messi. Let's not even get to Messi, because we're not even talking there. Philly, you're getting some love.
Thank you.
And then we're getting Danny Kiriakou. Sorry, it's coming on. So it's got to be every single time. And Danny is there.
We're good,
and
Danny.
We've got
Good to see you,
Derek Hutchinson also in there. So centre back. I'm going to talk on this very, very quickly. For me,
well, this is the next topic, so it's perfect.
Okay,
so,
fantastic.
Yeah, so I wanted to get into the defensive performance. Brian finally nailing the actual run of show.
Look at that segue.
Yeah, segue. Boom. I want to talk about the defense, and let's start with the center half. The three at the back, and who played. We had Davies, Dyer, and Tanganga in that three. I thought my thoughts quickly was I thought Dyer was amazing. This is one of the better games I've seen him play. Love him or hate him. He was very good in the first half and the second half. He was, statistically speaking, was really good. Didn't fuck up, which is he almost always plays.
Yeah, but his standards, though, isn't it?
I know,
that's the bad thing about it. It's by his standards. He had a good game. That's the. But here's the thing, Phil.
He actually almost always plays pretty well. He just always has that one moment.
Yeah, but would he get in the Chelsea team? Would he get in? If we are looking
look,
to
Phil, I'm not debating that. We're not Chelsea. We're not Chelsea though. We're not Chelsea.
No, I'm not saying Chelsea itself. I'm saying if any top 4 team, would he get into that team?
Probably not, but we're working with what we have right now until at least we have a moment to not work with it anymore. And so I think that's one of the positions we need to address. And it's what we'll get to this because I think the 3 that played and the quality of the 3 that played. And Bri, you were sort of going to get into that center back situation for this game. I thought Tanganga wasn't great. I thought Dyer was good, and I thought Davies was solid. But solid as Davies is solid. I recognize it's still Davies, but go on, Bri.
So people have been saying it on streams, and we got to look at it. If someone has said to you over the last 2 games, Everton and Leeds, a defensive Dyer, Davies, and Tanganga, or Davies, Dyer, and Romero kept 2 clean sheets, you both would have said, "Yeah, all right, whatever," and we all would have been going mad. Listen, Ben Davies he does this position for Wales, and he does it well.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He's solid. He's solid.
And love him or hate him. And when we first signed him, I was so happy we signed him. When we first signed him,
when he was younger, he was great. Yep.
I actually wanted him before Rose hit full pelt. I thought he was better than Rose before Rose hit full throttle.
Do you know he had in that season when they were rotating between the 2, he created more chances than Rose did. So
So listen. So Dyer's come in and done chances. Dyer's come in and done a job. Dyer has come in and done a job. Tanganga, I was saying on. I can't remember what stream I was on the day before saying I think Tanganga's going to be the one he goes for. I think it was on Eugene's on Persuasion where I said I think Tanganga, that position is made for him. And he looked a little bit out of place. And maybe it was because, you know what, after coming back from a red card and it's your first game under Conte, you may have been a bit complacent. But who I do want to big up, and I've openly said I'm a fan of his, is Davinson Sanchez.
Brian, we're going to get to that.
Okay, so
see,
mate,
I agree with you on this, because he actually is a good defender. If he had someone strong next to him, you'd actually see the better game in Sanchez. But he needs to have a reliable.
Just go for it, Brian. We'll just combine it. It's fine.
Okay, we're doing fantastic. So when it came to Davinson Sanchez, you've got to remember as well in the Vitesse game, he came on and instantly almost had his eye taken out with an injury. Came out head bandage, header in absolutely everything like an absolute warrior, and he did it again. And his best time was when he was in a back 3 with Jan and Toby. Now, obviously, Jan and Toby are leagues ahead of what we're talking about right now. But with a Romero and a someone, I think there's a player there. But listen, we have been criticising the lack of shots on target recently, but we haven't gone, oh, it's Kane or Son. It's the lack of creativity, it's the lack of this, it's the lack of that. Well, now we're talking about clean sheets. And yes, they're 2 of the players. Bloody hell, am I back home and Big Ben's going?
It's my clock, I'm afraid.
Big Ben.
Starting it in the background,
So it's kind of nice, actually.
What we can't do, I feel like I'm the news at 10. Right, so
there's a nice jingle to it.
Phil, I'm just going to mute until your clock's done, mate.
so when it comes to it, we need to give a lot of credit to the defense. You have to. I mean,
I agree.
Lloris again has been great, and I'm getting kind of concerned now that we haven't. In January, he can start talking. So we need to move quickly to try and sign this off or deal with the consequences. But yeah, I'm happy with the defensive mode. Don't get me wrong. As the comment was saying, I would say again, for a centre back, I don't want to buy a centre back in January. If we get one, great. But I think the main addressing items are backup for Kane and a number 10 and a 10. And then if we can get a defender, brilliant. But I don't think I think we have enough cover there to see us through to the summer if we have to put most of our attention in the top 2.
Yeah, I agree with you. Backup striker is badly needed. It's been too many years that we haven't had a backup striker.
4 or 5 years is absurd. Even like one that can play in the Premier League is at enough of a level to do that. I want to get to you, Adam, on this. Let's first talk about the mid 3 pairing and what you thought of the performance, and then I want to get to the wing backs too. And Phil will get your thoughts on that as well, because the wing backs, I thought was it again another one of those scenarios. Their goal, it was like both of their faults, but they also like ended up having great moments going forward. So, Adam, what are your thoughts on the defensive performance from Spurs this game?
Defensive performance, I think, was absolutely solid. Like even in like I hate to mention the dreaded first half, but like it has to be said like that they were the best thing about it. Out of the second half, they just like did more of the good. Like,
Yeah,
which like the wing backs, like you said, definitely helped. Like Reguilon on was like getting his crosses in. Royale was trying to go up front, and I have to say about Royale, he has definitely got potential now. If we thought we saw it under Nuno, we are definitely seeing it under Conte now. How like Reguilon can go up forward or now as well, and like can help out there. And I don't want to see Ben Davies up there. Ben Davies, like he can just stay in the defense, goes far. But as I know, Hojberg was literally like.
To be fair though, Adam, to be fair to Ben Davies got forward on a couple of occasions. Like he's underlapping Reguilon and getting in the box and creating. And I'm like, what the hell? Where's that coming from?
Yeah,
it's good.
As long as he doesn't get
caught. Well, as long as he doesn't get caught out, right? If he gets caught out and we end up, giving up a chance or something, then it's problematic. But if he's getting in there creating, and it's another way of getting. Making a defense uncomfortable, I have no issue with it because he's actually not bad at it when he gets forward. It's just, again, positioning is everything, right? So
yeah, that's the thing. If he can't get back, then you're
kind of screwed. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
There's just this gap left in defense, like.
So Adam, that first goal, you had Royale, who essentially got like skinned by the forward on the left side, like such a half-ass kind of pseudo tackle, and then you had Davies and Reguilon not picking up the forward who scored, who's David James. Ridiculous, but really good ball in, right? It's really easy to blame the defenders in this situation. I think I blame Royale more than I blame Reguilon, because when that ball comes in at that pace and it's cut inside like that, you're really like, unless you get your foot on it and you have an own goal, if the forward's fast enough, he's gonna get there before you do. Just from patterns of play, he's
but his tackle was kind of poor as well, though, wasn't it? It was kind of shameful.
Oh, Royale.
Royale
wasn't even a tackle. He just stuck his foot in.
I thought that was well embarrassing.
I think he deserves more of the fault at it than Reguilon and Davies. That's my point. He let him get in to make that pinpoint pass, and he had space to do it. And I think Royale screwed that. But again, I think when David James is running at that pace and the ball comes in the right way, you're defending that is either an own goal or he skies it and misses it. But over to you, Phil, on the defensive performance. Anything you want to add or point out that you liked or disliked? You didn't think Dyer played that well by the looks of his face when they said
I just look at it like I just take it as the game. You can only beat who you had in front of you, and so for that alone, he had a decent game. But it's not gonna. I look at his quality, and I'm thinking, really and truly, if we're gonna push for the top four, he's not gonna be the one to carry us to the top four. I'm sorry to say it.
No,
but he's not. He is not that quality. We need to have strength. We need to have a proper centre half, someone like a Botman or someone like that who can take us further than what we have at the moment. This is not. I'm not being nasty to him, but we need defenders of a higher quality than what Dyer is. I'm sorry to say it, but
I don't think you need to apologize. I think it's fair, and I think we talked about Sanchez a little bit, but Sanchez is subbed on, and I thought Sess was subbed on, which I thought was amazing. And I think what we're going to see a lot from, and this is what we saw from Conte at Chelsea, is he always does the fullback rotation like we saw under Poch. You're going to see a lot of rotation. Sess is going to get a lot of games. Yeah. We may see Doherty get a lot of games eventually if he. No, I'm serious. I mean, that's his game.
No.
I'm not. He the chances created 2 seasons ago under Wolves was one of the second highest in the league.
But then there was also but then I think there was a reason that Nuno didn't play him. Because there's no way Nuno sold him from Wolves to us.
But Nuno
comes in from Wolves to us. And still doesn't play him. There's something there behind that.
Maybe, but Nuno did also wanted to switch to a back four and maybe recognize that he couldn't play.
Yeah, but I don't.
And we saw that, right?
I think that was Levy. I think Levy hired him of the fact that he played 4-3-3 at Valencia.
Maybe
so Levy was the dinosaur in this situation, not Nuno.
Well, I mean that's speculative, but we can argue about that. But I do think if we're going to get the best out of a player that we spent a bunch of money on Doherty, playing him in a right wing back with 3 at the back is going to be the best. That's the best he's ever played in the Premier League. So you take advantage of it. And all I'm talking about is rotation. We'll probably see that on Thursday. Against,
I agree with that.
and I think that's where you play him, right? So that rotation will come in. Thoughts on that, Adam? When it comes to rotation from those wing backs, and what do you think it'll be like? I thought it was great to see Sessegnon play. I actually thought he played pretty well. What's your thoughts on Sess coming and getting some minutes back finally from a really long time out with an injury?
Yeah, it's a long time. I think someone broke the Matrix. Like I thought someone broke the Matrix like when he came on. Honestly, thought we'd all gone into a parallel universe or something. That didn't escape the fact that I felt so happy for him, like, to finally be back on that pitch. Like it's like, as I think he missed balls like the whole last season with this like knee thing. Like he's good
competition for Reguilon, don't you think? Though, like I think like
eventually.
I think it's going to be that slow like bed in to sort of get them to that level. But he's pacey. It's kind of his type of position.
I feel sorry for him,
So do I. Yes, so do I. But at the same time, I'm like, he missed so much. Like,
it's been a long time. It feels like he's been out for years. It's been brutal. Yeah.
Now, hopefully, he can just keep. Sorry, I don't interrupt you, Brian. But
no, it's fine, mate.
Keep his knee out of like as much trouble as he can, like, and just focus on upping his game now and actually giving Reguilon that competition. Like it's like there needs to be some sort of like a healthy competition in the squad.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, so we can improve like the depth problem, because we do have a depth problem.
And I think that's the thing with Sessegnon in that position, in a 3 at the back with left wing backs who get high at the pitch. Sessegnon was a left-sided forward in a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3. He was always playing in that left side. He was getting farther up when he was playing at Fulham, scoring goals in those positions. You put him in a wing back and you push him to compete for minutes. I think that's a great position for him. But like you said, Adam, he needs to stay fit. Brian, what are your thoughts on the wing backs situation at the moment?
So the thing is, you got to remember as well, you're not just talking about rotation there. If need be, they can play Sessegnon at left back or left wing back, and they can play both. If they play both,
they can play together.
The
essentially, is what you mean.
The blistering pace down that wing. And then they can cover each other whilst one goes forward, the other. There's a lot of options with them two, not just plays. It could even be like let's just say the game against Mora coming up. Play them both. Give Son a rest. Give Son a much needed goddamn rest.
I still want to see Brian Hill on that side for Sonny though, because I want to see him get.
It's time for Hill.
The thing is, what we need right now is to get Sessegnon some minutes, because Sessegnon, like Cole said, has got a lot of potential. We saw what he could do at Fulham. He's been blighted by injuries again, but we've seen what Conte can do with fullbacks, and you can't imagine if we need to go and get pace in and get behind one team. Can you imagine having Reguilon and Sessegnon, no matter which one's going forward, that fullback on the other side or defender is to be like, oh my fucking God, can I have a break? Because it'll just be non-goddamn stop. So there's another layer to that kind of setup with them two being fit.
Yeah, for sure. It adds depth and
but then our left side of our team is always it's as strong, but our right side of the team is just non-existent. I'm not being nasty; it's just non-existent.
Yeah.
We haven't got a right winger. We have not got a good right winger. Mora, I think plays better in the middle, but who do we have on the right? We don't have anybody there, and we never. It's just.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
It's a frustrating situation. I agree. I think what we do have on the right now, at the very least, is Emerson Royale, who seemingly has some very good potential. And what we need to see is a player in front of him. And I'm going to let Brian talk about this now, because he's been dying to talk about Lucas Mora. And I think Lucas Mora, again, he's another one of those players who is incredibly frustrating, because he gives the ball away all the time. It's just run into players, give the ball away, run into players, give the ball. You're just going to go, what are you doing? And then he does something brilliant, and you're just like, oh, we scored a goal because of Lucas Mora. And so you have to like balance the difference between what he's useful at and what he's useless at, and they kind of go hand in hand to some extent. So, Brian, thoughts on Lucas Mora and his performance?
I retweeted something from someone on Sunday, and it just goes to prove the point. When Kane hit the post, it was Lucas Mora that passed in the ball. When Son hit the crossbar from that deflection, it was Mora that made the pass. When Pierre-Emile Hojberg scored the goal, it was Lucas's pass. And when Dyer took the free kick, the foul was on Lucas Mora. Now, the reason people get annoyed with Lucas Mora is, yes, he does give the ball away a fair amount of time. Actually, I'd be a lot of the
A
time.
lot. Yeah.
But if you look at
Decision making is shit.
do you know what? I wouldn't even go as far as maybe decision making is a bit, but he's always trying to be progressive. He isn't losing it because he's going side. He is trying to drive the team forward. And if you're going to be these people that try to play the balls through or try to play that killer pass or try to get the team up, you're going to get caught out a few times. Don't get me wrong. He needs to improve on that. But a lot of the time, I mean, Harry Winks can pass the ball side to side. Hojberg can pass the ball side to side, not lose it, and have better passing stats. But if you look at what Mora's doing, and one thing he will do is drag back. Yeah. If he does make a mistake, he'll bust his ass to make sure he makes up for that mistake and get back into shape. He needs to be in, like Phil said, in a 10. I think he needs to be there with an option of floating around, whatever. But you can't underestimate. He loses the ball every single time when he does it. It's because he's going forward. He's going forward. He's going forward.
Yeah.
But then you see the effort. That's the thing. You see him doing that, which is why you can allow him to give away the ball, because at least he's looking to move forward. So you can, like you say, you're going to make mistakes moving forward.
Yeah, that's true. I think and you, Brian, you just mentioned him playing him as a 10, and I think Phil, you mentioned it earlier as well. I think playing him as a 10 in a 3-5-2 would be better than playing him on the right side of a 3-4-3, which is what Conte's been playing. He's been playing a 3-4-3 with the on the front right side of that front three. If you pull Lucas inside and then add him as a midfielder and let whoever, whether it's Tanguy and Skip or Hojberg and Skip, or like a combination of the two, one of them is 6 and one of them an 8, who's going forward and backward, you're going to get way more opportunities creatively, because he's going to find that pass and he's going to be running at them. He's going to try to create. That's what we're missing, is that creative kind of spark, and he is doing it. Like Brian said, he's making those runs. It's just that I think in that wing role, that sort of front of a 3, he ends up kind of getting lost, like as to what to do when it comes to, do I cut inside or do I try to beat him on the outside? He doesn't have a great cross either. So when you play him wide, he kind of loses that. So yeah, I think for me that's my problem with Mora. But at the same time, like Brian said, I mean, all of those things that were good about what Spurs did, like in that final third, were mostly because of what Lucas Mora did. So it's hard to argue with that, despite the other times when you're just going, would you stop running into 4 players and then just giving the ball away?
Well, the Brazilian Darren Huckabee is what I used to call him, because he just used to have his head down and run. But listen, Conte can make players better, and I'm sure that's one. If he looks at Lucas Mora and says, right, I need to improve you in some aspect, it's going to be that decision making. It's going to be that final pass. If you watched him pre-season, some of his through balls for some of the goals were outstanding, and he just needs to do it on a more consistent basis. And I'm sure, if anyone can, as we know with all the players we're saying, Conte can.
Yeah, we're lucky to have him. Okay, so we're getting closer to the end here, and I know that seems like it's very quick. We're 47 minutes in, but we have a pretty big topic to discuss at the end of this show, and I know that Brian's been waiting for it, and I know Phil is as well, and Adam's got a list. So
I've bought the list.
I'm going to try to be the counter to much of what is going to get said, despite me probably agreeing with most of it. But I want to have the discussion, because I think it's good to try to have a balanced opinion, or to talk about what the other sides of it. Who wants to start? We had the financial results from the club. Obviously, it's a mixed bag of a lot of different things. It was a long. We're not going to read it because it's a long thing to read. Hopefully people here have gone and read it, because if you're a Spurs fan and you want to know about what's going on in the club at the back end of it, you should read it. So go and read it if you haven't, and then maybe come back to the comments. And if you have any comments about anything any one of us say, get in the comments and say what you got to say about it.
Big Ben is out.
I can't help it, mate. I literally can't help it.
Phil, I'm just going to mute your mic when it happens.
You know what? I think it's Levy. Levy's determining the clock. It's like, right.
What you tell you was vindictive. I just tell you that, didn't I?
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to let Brian start, because Brian is stewing, and then we'll go around the horn. But Brian, first of all, just your overall thoughts on it. Of course, if you want to get to specifics, and there are many of them, and I know as I was reading it go, Brian's going to hate that. Brian's going to hate that. Brian's going to hate that. But I'll let you roll with it, brother.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say a big up to One Channel when I'm going to be on their show tomorrow. The Irish Hotspur, who is going to be doing another in-depth show of this, like he did with the Dele Alli one last week with you and me, Brian. He's doing one tomorrow where he's going to go. He puts a lot of hard work, and so does Jack.
And shout out to them. They're going to be on
everything.
the Two Bryans on Friday on this channel.
Friday
So-
week.
Friday week. Yeah,
Happy
sorry,
day.
not this Friday, the following Friday, but tune in.
Yeah, I talk to them quite a lot as well, so it's big up for them as well.
They're legends, man, honestly.
They're going to be going into a lot of depth. I'll try and keep this short and sweet. First of all, he talks about how the wonderful staff and we've done this and how we've kept the stadium open and blah blah blah. And you first of all start thinking, oh, is this the people you tried to furlough and take 20% pay off? So it's nice how you're bigging them up after you literally try to throw them to the gutter. Point one. Listen, the amount we've lost as a football club, don't get me wrong, it's a big amount and everyone's going to go through that. But for a Premier League football club the size of Tottenham, the amount of money that we've lost is not a like, oh my God, stop it. How are we going to fund ourselves? How are we going to support ourselves? I don't see Joe Lewis checking into like a pawnbrokers to pawn his yacht anytime soon. So let's get that straight. Then he starts talking about this bloody hotel and how the money for the infrastructure. Now, don't get me wrong, Spurs have been around since 1882, and I'm not going to do the maths right now, but we're talking 140 odd years. And I can honestly say, never once in my life have I heard a fan, home or away, say, do you know what? I wish there was a hotel here so I could No, not one single person. How about you don't spend more money building property around the club and give that to the team to spend?
Yeah.
Then he goes on about how it's the heart of the community and all that bollocks, which is obviously bullshit from him. And then we get to the best bit where he talks about 400 million has been spent since 2019, as if he's lauding it like, yes, look at us, we spent 400 million. Well, you prick. If you had given the right money to the right people, and instead of signing a Benjamin Stambouli, an Nkudu, a Ng, a Janssen, we would have had a Fernandez, we would have had a Skriniar, we would have had a Dybala, and that money would have been half the way down. And he's just, again, he's put himself in a place where he's even said, oh, we're going to back Conte. And as we know, and every channel did it, Brian, but we did one as well, a special when Levy did that advert, not that advert, that meeting on the video where he just lied his fucking ass off.
Yeah, it was garbage. It was absolute garbage.
He's done it again. He's done it again. And he said, we're going to back Conte. Now, listen, when I say I want him to back Conte, I don't want him to, I don't mean let's go blow 150 million. I mean, if he wants, let's just say there's a 33-year-old right back, and I'm just picking a position and an age, and he goes, I want that person for my team, and his name is whatever his name is. I don't want to hear, no, we're not getting him because there's no sell-on value, or no, he's too old. If Conte says he wants that man, then you go and get him that goddamn man. It's that simple. Conte knows what he's doing. It's just, again, he comes out with these things, and he tries to play on the smallest violin in the world, and he's just put himself in a place where, once again, Levy out, we can't lose, because either the team gets built on, and we get what we want to see as our football club, and we start doing what we should have been doing all these years, or Conte doesn't get the players he wants. And I'm not saying he'll walk out immediately, because I don't think he'd walk out in January. He bloody well would at the end of the season. But if he does not get the players that, if he doesn't get the players in January, he will come out and say, well, I wanted this player and I wanted that player. And again, if it doesn't happen, the shit's on Levy. So when you look at it, the amount of money that we were led to believe that we thought we'd be like in the minus by a lot more than what it is, it's just gone to show that, again, it's all noise, and the time for anything he says, reads, puts on a video or anything, is just bullshit. It's just total, utter bullshit. And now is the time for him to literally show us what he's made of, because I'm going to use a quote that Gary Neville said. I've been using the quote, "You're skating on thin fucking ice." Well, Gary Neville said about Ole, he's skating on broken ice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exactly where Levy is right now. He's skating on broken ice, and now it's sink or swim time, and we will see.
I agree 100%. I have some counters to some of that,
Oh, here
but
we go.
well, no, I mean it's not counters to the sense that I completely disagree, but I do think there are some things in this quickly that aren't awful, like the understanding that the recruitment hasn't been very good, and that the hiring of Paratici to sort that out is a positive thing. We can't deny that. We all like the fact that we've got Antonio Conte at the club. It's because of Paratici coming in. We wouldn't have him.
Same like Romero.
Yeah, there's players that we're going to get because of this decision that's been made. The fact that it's taken them this long to finally make this decision, I agree, is fucking absurd. Should have happened a long time ago, but it's happened.
Mitchell, Baldini, Camoli, Arneson.
No, but we've got Antonio Conte, who came in under management under those football directors. We have to say that. Of course, we have to wait and see what the results are going to be. And Brian, this is where you and I agree for the most part, is that and every bit of evidence that we've had so far is that the evidence suggests that it's not going to go well. So, but you've also just suggested that his back's against the wall and he has no choice at this point, and it will fail miserably. Now, of course, the time is minimal here. I want to get to Adam quickly. Adam, you've got some notes. Let's hear your notes, and then we'll get to your thoughts, Phil.
You know, just a quick thought. Like when I read this thing, I just felt like I was like depressed again. Like this is the second time in a few months this fella's tried to like manipulate us, like, and fool us into believing that what he says is true. I will admit though, like you said, Brian, and Brian,
there's like a couple of things, guys. I'm not suggesting.
Yeah, there are like a couple of things that are actually like okay, like in this, and that I understand. Like, but like for the most bit, like it's again, and it's complete not a nonsense. Like, and like I'd like. Why do people like this exist in the world today? Honestly, and I'm glad actually Brian Daigle didn't mention this, because I wanted to bring it up. There was this one small paragraph in all of this that just is completely just topples every positive thing he says or like tries to say in this, and that's property projects. Now I'm sorry, and I put next to that 4 words: shot in the foot. Mm-hmm. That's where he just shoots himself dead here, like, well, metaphorically speaking, of course. Why? This is a football club. Why would you mention property development along with the other things that Daigle mentioned earlier? Like when you're talking about football, but no football fan, like, or at least I reckon the majority of them, like, are going to understand you talking about property projects, building hotels. As like, I mean, okay, sure enough, you can like do what the Man City owners are doing, like, and help to build things, like help to improve the surrounding areas. That's fine. I agree with that. But like property projects, like, what the hell? You can build properties like in any place in the freaking country, like if you're rich enough. And these owners, not just Levy, Enoch as well, I haven't forgotten them. Then they can, like, and I wrote down here, proves that Levy should be in charge of business, not football. Like he's just not fit for purpose, as I keep saying, in terms of football. Business, fine, do what he wants, but like, not this isn't for him. Like, this sport in general, this is not his thing. Like, in like. Yeah. 5-year review. 5 years of making it up as you go along, mate. Mic drop.
Yeah. I mean, I can't disagree with you, Adam. I honestly can. I think he has his biggest issue, Levy, is his what he thinks he's saying and what we actually hear. You know, like, he thinks he's saying these things that are like, this is so great because I'm spending all this money and it's going to make money for the club, and it all goes back into the club. But it sort of goes back into the club to some extent, but it also goes back into your pockets, because you get paid millions and millions of dollars a year. You're the highest paid chairman in the league, probably even in football. Like, to be fair,
you've got to remember, Brian. Sorry, you said something. It just reminded me of something I was talking to Danny Kiriaki earlier, and he picked it out as well. He keeps saying football club, not team.
Mm-hmm.
The football club is infrastructure, is anything. Saying we're going to invest in the team is quite a different thing. Now, don't get me wrong. This could be me just picking the bones and being very
it's semantics maybe, but at the same time,
look what we're dealing with.
He also does that intentionally, right? He says things in words. This is PR, right? My girlfriend does this for a living, and I've heard some of the things that they like to say to try to make the story told a certain way, so that the people who are listening to it get manipulated, so that they make a certain decision, so that they won't be mad, or they'll agree. And that's the nature of these situations, right? So when you're reading it, you have to read it with skeptical eyes and understand that this is what's being said, what is actually being said, and is any of it valuable. And there are a couple of things in this that I'm like, for me, the recruitment is the most obvious one because our recruitment has been fucking terrible for a really long
But at the
time.
end of the day, I'm not being nasty with the recruitment. Yeah, he's the one who decides. He's the one who decides
Oh,
what
I
players
know.
to come
Phil,
in. He's the one who. He's the
I
one
know.
at the end of the day who spends the money.
You're not. You don't need to convince me. I completely agree. I just think that the fact that Paratici has come in and he's saying specifically he's going to give that up and he's going to do it now. Saying and doing it are things we know that Levy doesn't generally do. So it is kind of hard for me to believe it. But to hear him say that he's gotten it wrong, it's maybe one of the first times he's ever admitted anything like that. But Phil, we're running out of time here because we got another stream in about 25 minutes that Brian and I got to go on. But Phil, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, having read it, and what do you think? What you've read here?
Every time I hear Daniel Levy, no disrespect to, but every time I hear Daniel Levy, I heard Brian say it on your stream one time. He just gives you more and more and more ammunition to throw at him, and it's there, and it's nasty, and it's even now. Yeah, we've got 1 month and 2 weeks before the transfer window is really opening, and already you're coming out with "we have no money." Come on, this is no need for this, man. You've got money. The fans pay the highest prices in the league to go and watch the team play, and you're so disrespectful, yeah, that you don't even put a decent side out for them to watch. 20 years we've had this. 20 years. You haven't backed the manager. This is not good enough, man. Simply, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
We deserve a lot more than this. When me and Brian went down to the protest, yeah, we saw the way that Inic had the big football, that wrong. All wrong. And people didn't even know who played in the stadium, blood. Seriously. It was like, oh, they're from the home team. Yo, this is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. We've been here, like Brian said, from 1882.
Long time coming.
Has every time we need investment, there's another goalpost that we have to go through. When you first come in, Europe, then Champions League. Now it's this one. Now it's Brexit. What's the next hurdle? What's the next step? It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. He's not going to put money into that club. And I know Conte's here, and I love Conte to pieces. Like I said, I grew up watching Conte for Juventus. But it's not going to happen with Brian Levy. With Levy there, man. Levy's just, no. Yeah,
so I'm going to counter that. I think it is going to happen. I think it's going to happen because of the things that Brian had said previously, and that I've been saying since that he's dug himself into a corner here.
Yeah, he has dug a grave for himself. He
has to do something here, and he has to back it, because if he doesn't, what we heard at the stadium, before Nuno got sacked. And we lost, and finally, most of the crowd, or many people in the crowd, I don't know the number specifically, I wasn't there, but I heard it obviously on the telly, that there's a lot more people
talking about it before that, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah,
we were talking that we needed to get the noise in the stadium for him to finally hear it.
And he was sitting there listening to it, and he's not going to be happy about that because he thinks he can do no wrong to some extent.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that's a massive problem too. So, I know that Brian and I got to roll out because we got to do another stream. But Brian had something he wanted to finish off with. Go ahead, Brian.
I need to say this on air, and I need people to hear it. And Phil was at the protest. There's someone called Graham that was in the protest that all vouch for this. There's other people in the chat. There's Simon from Toronto who came over at the protest, and there's a few other people in this chat, and I can't go through all the names that were at the protest. Now, social media can be an absolute bitch. Now, what I'm getting annoyed with, and what we're having to do in putting fires out right now, and I need to address this right now, is there's loads of people that obviously there are people that are very, very hardcore Levy out, like myself, like Change for Spurs, like Stairs Stu, like Phil, but there's also other people that we're not affiliated with that have been saying stuff on social media, saying that we're all aggressive, we are all trying to start fights, we are being anti-Semitic, they are being drunk, they are trying to poison. Just a lot of ridicule that is coming our way, which is totally not us. If you sit with us, first of all, there's not a single word of anti-Semitism whatsoever.
Yeah, that's absurd. That's
the alcohol, half of them don't even drink for whatever reasons they have. Mine is very, very well documented. We are not aggressive in any single way. We've even had the police come and say, like the police in Tottenham with us have been fantastic. And they've come and said, oh, what's this all about? And we have hundreds of people that may not stand with us at protest, but do come over and talk to us and say, so why are you leaving? And try to get more information. And we've had debates with them. Nothing got aggressive, nothing got violent, nothing got. But when you hear these people on Facebook just trying to slander what we're doing and associate everyone on Twitter that is leaving out now, there's a certain few groups of people that are starting to do this now and just accusing. And one of the heads of has been on Facebook saying, listen, every time it's like, come over and speak to us and you'll see that there's none of what you're saying. It may be happening elsewhere, but it is nothing to do with the group that I proudly stand with, I proudly represent, I proudly come on air and talk about, because we stand for none of that. I read the Changes for Spurs statement live on the Irish Hot Spurs channel and said we are non-violent, we are non-aggressive, we are not going to be. We are here to try and obviously enforce what's going on. So I need to put to bed that anyone that thinks Changes for Spurs to Dare is to Dare, or anyone like Phil just spoke to me via direct messages on Twitter and came to the protest. And Phil will there has been no racism of any variety, let alone anti-Semitism. We have welcomed everyone. We have become a nice little tight group that feel very, very passionately about getting our club back. But trying to say that everything we do is behind what those people are doing is quite frankly absurd and it's the wrong message you're sending out. And I urge anyone, whether you're pro Levy or against Levy like we are, come over opposite the Spurs shop. I'm not there obviously until whenever I next get back, and go and talk to the guys, and you will see that everything that's being said about them is absolutely the exact opposite of what is actually happening. Period.
Yeah, I want to add to that quickly,
Well
if you don't
said.
mind. Brian, yeah, absolutely well said. And I think that we all know this about social media, right? It's poisonous, and often the loudest and ugliest voices get amplified. And then unfortunately, the ones that are have a good position and are trying to attempt to create change and do things that are positive for the club, for the community, for the thing that they're doing, are the ones that don't get heard because they're not loud and aggressive or annoying, or arguably they're the ones who are aggressive, and this group is not. So it's a silly situation. It's unfortunate. I want to end this stream on a positive note. Not that isn't positive, but I just think it's something that we all must have really, 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 really fucking enjoyed at the weekend, and that was Antonio Conte on the sidelines at the end of that game, and just everything he did and what we've been missing at this club since Pochettino was sacked. And even before that, when he was, given up on by some of the players and by the club itself. Quickly go around the horn as a good way to say goodbye. Phil, how did that feel? Because despite all the things that we still obviously what we just discussed about leaving and everything else, it's nice to have a manager at the club who feels that way about the fans and the players and the game and all that, right? Phil, sorry, mate, I had to mute you because of the clock. Go on, say it again.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see a manager who has that kind of passion, and it woke up most of the fans in the stadium. It woke up the players, and it's infectious. And hopefully that will course its way through the club. Hopefully it will, like I say, kickstart a brand new era for the club.
Yeah,
and
it's what we've been missing,
for
right?
the last 3 years. They've been stuck.
Yeah.
So now, hopefully, under Conte, we can finally go forward, because Nuno was just. I'm not being nasty.
Yeah.
He was a patsy. He was never going to do anything there.
Playing with his beard and boring as hell.
Yes, the one.
No offense to Nuno, but it's just, dude, like, get a grip and show some passion. Adam, thoughts on Conte's response and the players and doing this, getting the crowd going. I mean, just I love that shit. I love that.
Infectious. It is very infectious, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sums up perfectly. Yeah, it's a work of art. Like, so I start whispering again because
Adam's whispering. He's got
time.
Family around him, so he can say.
Anyway, no,
such his dedication.
He cannot yell like Conte right now because it wakes some people up.
Exactly.
Yeah, but brilliant. Brian, go on, Adam. Add something you want to add?
Yeah, it's a work of art. Like, honestly, it's like it's something we've been missing for like the last 2 years. Like, it was like literally not since like we got to the Champions League final, and like when Poch was doing all those things. Like, if we seen something like that, and this is only like against Leeds, like. No offense to Leeds, but like, come on, like they're not on the same level as an Ajax or stuff so. I mean, like Conte, like honestly, Honestly, like, I don't know how he's kept this up for like over a decade. I mean, I don't know how he has escaped heart attacks and all that stuff. Like, he's just so bloody passionate. Like, and that's what we need. Like, and it will, and it already is rubbing off on the players. Like, just wanted to add that in as well, and that's why we've got like a much better chance of success under him, like than, and like even under Mourinho.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And it was just, it was just a buzz. I was buzzing watching that. I was just like, oh man, it's about bloody time. We can at least feel something again. And I think we've been missing it. Brian, your thoughts on Conte and that, and then we'll have to sign off.
Yeah, so I mean, you look at that with Conte, and I liken it to. I'll always remember with Poch when we beat Man City 2-1 at Man City when Eriksen scored a goal in the last minute, and it was the first time he went up to the crowd and proper started geeing them up, and he had the way to unite the fans brilliantly. And then you look at someone like Klopp, who started his first game a 2-2 draw with West Brom, but he went up to the Kop and started doing his yes, literally. And everyone, all the other fans were like, "What the hell are you doing, celebrating a draw?" But if you look at what that Kop does when Klopp gets like, you just got to look at what happened with Arteta and Klopp on Saturday to see what reaction a stadium can have. And if there's one manager in world football that could get that wall of noise to become the wall of noise it's wanted to be, is Antonio Conte.
100%.
And that ground obviously has had Jose doing whatever. It had Nuno doing fucking Madame Tussauds impressions.
Jose had one game where he did that. Fucking game where him and Hojberg were like, and I was like, yes, we're getting somewhere.
Or you forget the Man City game where he ran up to the referee after the penalty.
Right. There's a couple, but it was minimal compared to what we're going to see.
That is what you get from Conte. I mean, I watched and I retweeted from Spurs today the Conte watch on the camera, and you just see him the whole time. He's even turning around to the West Stand, which is normally known as where Levy sits, the corporate stand, everything. He's going like this, and the whole place is going crazy. He is really going to have such an impact, and I think that wall of noise, especially when I know Ben is in there, because Ben from We Are Tottenham TV is an absolute psychopath in that stand. He's crazy, but that's what we need. We need people that are in there, and that stand has got a lot of people that are capable of making such a goddamn noise. And if there's one thing you need your commander in chief to rally the troops. And if he asks, people are going to follow him, and it's just wonderful, refreshing to see such passion, desire, and commitment. And that's just his first home game.
Yeah, but you have to remember, look when we linked with him in the summer. Look how we look how Henry dressed up as the Godfather man.
Yeah.
Even before he even came through the door, the infections was already there.
It's brilliant, guys. I hate to do this because I saved it for the last because it's exciting and it's a positive thing. But we really got to go. Brian and I got to go. I got to run the podcast in about 15 minutes. If you guys, whoever's here, if you're still watching this, please do a Tottenham on Tour raid over to the North End podcast. It's a show that Brian and I do with a few of the other.
Why don't you pop the link, Brian? Because we're admins. Why don't you pop the link in the group chat? Because then you can post the link to the channel.
Okay. Well, you talk about it, Brian, while I'm doing that, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So obviously, this is basically the way Brian Ireland and I met was through his other channel. Yes, that's right. He had a channel before he found me. Basically, the North End Pod is basically where it's a bunch of Canadians and Americans. There's a couple of English in there as well. It's not just Tottenham, it's Premier League. There's Man U fans from the North End. There's Aston Villa fans, and it's generally talking about the Premier League and then highlighting. They do specials on each team throughout the league and get great guests in. So the North End Pod is a week. Is it still weekly, Brian? Or are you doing it a bit more now?
Yeah, it's weekly. There's a couple other shows. We do a fantasy show on Fridays. We got a bunch of stuff on the go. So it's a lot of fun to hop over and football, beer, banter, repeat. It's just it's a good time and it's a joke. And Adam's going to be part of the channel as well. We're going to get him to be helping us out. But we got to roll. We're live in 15 minutes. So
yeah, and I need to eat my dinner and have a cigarette.
Yeah, and I want to.
Let me say before I leave.
Okay,
thank you
Phil,
very much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
It's
Very
been a
much
pleasure.
for
It's been a pleasure, man.
You've been a great guest.
Yep.
Yes, Mary's a legend.
I was gonna big you up, Phil, for being here. I sort of have to rush you through it, but really pleasure. We'll definitely get you back on again. Of course, the technical issues we'll hopefully get that sorted before next time. But yeah, absolute pleasure to have you on. And Adam, of course, your first official time with us here. You've done an amazing job.
Yeah,
as
first time on
usual.
YouTube, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and Brian, my partner in crime, I'll see you in a few minutes after you've had your smoke
you
and
will
dinner.
do it. Listen,
And-
let's see how quickly you're speaking because you want to get everything
I
right.
know, I'm trying to get it all in. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody in the comments because you've been amazing, and come over and see us on the other channel. It'll be fun to dance.
Tottenham On Tour. Tottenham On Tour. Tottenham On Tour.